Battlefield 6 isn't even out yet, and we're already talking tier lists. In this video today, I want to break down all of the weapons that we have access to in the open beta and put them into a tier list of their relative balance against each other. Now, this video is not going to be talking about, hey, this gun is S tier, and if you take it, you're auto going to win. And I guess it kind of is like that. But my point is, I want to discuss the guns that are overtuned, as in they're just always so damn good, and the guns that are very undertuned / bad, and as in they're always just terrible. So in my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge of my videos, let's pretty much just here's the entire tier list so you can take a look at it. The big things you're probably going to take a look at here are the things in the overtuned category. We're going to have the AK-205, the default SMG right there, the SGX, and then the shotgun in the overtuned. They all just perform so damn well right now, like way, way, way above all things within their class. And then as far as undertuned goes, the LMGs are really lackluster across the board. Even their individual use cases just aren't great. And then the M39 is just going to piss me off looking at the little picture for it. Is it the M39, M49? Either way, the DMR is probably the worst weapon in the beta right now. It's just got a great fire rate, but it just doesn't do a good enough amount of damage with a really ridiculous recoil. So this is the too long didn't watch the entire video. If this is all you wanted to know, then please feel free to go ahead and shut the video down. From here, I'm pretty much going to be talking about every single weapon class and sorting them into this list. So again, if that's all you want to know, please feel free to shut it down. I want to be respectful of your time. Before you head out though, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, as each one of those things helps me out in a huge way. And lastly, you can find my Twitch linked in the comment section and pinned comment. Yeah, the pinned comment in the description. There we go. I'm a great YouTuber. Where you can see me stream this game and plenty of others every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But let's get started here on the ultimate tier list for the open beta weapons in Battlefield 6. So before we actually get started on the list, we're going to take a look at the actual list and how I have it. Pretty much everything in the average category is simply something that is solid. Depending upon the player, they can make it excel because they know the actual character, they know the actual use case of the weapon, whatever it is, you can make it excel because it's just your general knowledge of the game and the weapon. Anything in the great category excels pretty natively, even with little knowledge from the actual player, but it kind of helps, I guess, shore up any kind of mistakes that they make. And overtuned is pretty much just point and click. It's just got so much destruction attached to it. And we'll go through those individual weapons as we hit them in their respective categories. Then things in the undertuned category are just not performing as per what that weapon category should really lend itself to. And for example here, I mean, we're using this LMG as an example to drag things up and down, but the LMGs are really lackluster in almost any range of threat that they should be used in. So that's why it's undertuned. And then anything that's outright bad is just not really doing its job, period, either as a weapon or as a weapon within a category. Of course, as always, this is entirely my opinion. So if you do not like things on this list, that's totally fine. If you are really excelling with anything I put in undertuned and bad, awesome. I'm stoked, because I think that there should be varying ways people should approach the game, and they should be able to succeed. I'm just some fucking guy on the internet. So who cares ultimately what I say? As long as you're enjoying the game with whatever weapon you want, then that is all that matters. So let's get started in breaking things down now by each individual weapon category. We'll start with something quick and easy, the SMGs. Now the SMGs, we get 2 only in the open beta, and of course we're probably going to get plenty more once the game goes live. But as you saw from the intro, the first one is the SGX, is what you unlock right out the gate, and it's just so good. It has a decent size clip, even without upgrading it. It has an amazing fire rate. It does 20 damage at a considerable range of, I think it's 20 meters for 20 damage, and then drops to 17 damage. And that's it. I'm sorry, no, it's 20 damage, and then at 20 meters, it will drop to 17 damage, which is not a substantial drop in its overall damage profile because the rate of fire is excellent. The accuracy is way too damn good for an SMG, and the damage fall off on SMGs versus LMGs is not substantial enough. We're looking at around like 15% damage fall off after that 21 meter mark. And an LMG by comparison, or an assault rifle by comparison, has a 22% damage fall off. So the SGX really, really, really thrives. Now, the other SMG in the category, it's the MP7 is what it actually is. I forget what the actual delineation is in the game, and you can see that this little picture is not showing me the full size of what it is. It's not it's not the B36. It's damn. Well, either way, it's a PW7A2. That's it. I really don't like this SMG, and I've seen people really like mow me down and get a lot of use out of it. It has a much faster fire rate than the SGX. It has a lower damage, but I find that it really isn't delivering the same punch that I get with the PGX. It doesn't have, I'm sorry, SGX. It doesn't have the same accuracy either. It has a pretty wild recoil pattern. I think in individual hands, it can be an absolute powerhouse, but I think by and large, it just falls in that average category of just being purely up to the individual skill of the player. And that SGX, again, is one that is just melting people's faces. I don't think I've come across a 1v1 scenario of coming around a corner against someone with an SGX that I've reliably won hand over hand. It's usually like, okay, I'm winning these 20% of the time. And even when I'm using it, I win the majority of the time coming around the corner, even when they've got shots into me. And I think that's the kind of ridiculous thing about that weapon. You can have taken half of your health and damage, still calibrate to find out where that person is and shoot them down with the SGX and still maybe even have enough to kill another person. Like it can really, really get out of control. So I think it needs just a slight bit of tuning. I think ultimately between the SMGs and the LMGs, and I'll say this again in the LMG section, their damage fall off needs to swap. I think that damage fall off beyond 21 meters should be less on the LMGs and more on the SMGs. But you know, who am I? I'm not a developer. I'm not really in charge of that kind of stuff. So let's move on to the next weapon category. And it is the carbines. Carbines are one of my favorite weapon types in the game. In general, the M4 is one of my favorite weapons in any and all shooters. So we've got three: the AK-205, the M4, well, the M4A1, and the M417. And I've kind of organized them. Hold on. Now I've organized them in the order in which you unlock them. The very first one is that M4A1, and it is honestly, it's great. At first, I did not like it. It took me a little bit of getting used to, and I think it was also because it was the first day or two of playing Battlefield 6 again after not having played Battlefield for ages. So I think it was the general rust of playing Battlefield that was actually kind of tinting the gun itself rather than my actual playstyle of it. But it has a great magazine at 30 rounds. It does not the most damage of all of our respective carbines. It does 25 damage a hit. And it ultimately just is very satisfying. It's very punchy. It's got a good round. It's very accurate, and it has a great recoil pattern. So I think of all of the carbines, it just really, really, really exceeds and shows a lot of really good early capability. But then we get in that AK-205 range, and the AK-205 is overtuned mainly because of how disgusting its burst fire is. There's no real delay in between each subsequent click of the fire button on the AK-205, which results in essentially using burst fire to maintain accuracy and recoil reduction, but you get the same rate of speed or rate of fire of fully auto. It's disgusting. It can just rip through stuff. It does the least damage of any of these carbines at 20, but you could click twice, and as long as you're on center mass, you're going to kill someone because it's going to be 3 shots of 20, then 3 shots of 20, and boom, they're going to be knocked out. It is a real impressive weapon. And even when you bring it down to single shot, you can get a really far range on this thing that allows you to hold down positions and do a lot of really great damage, especially when you get its extended magazine. It really wants that extended magazine, jumping you from, I think it's like from 30 to 40 rounds. It is so huge because you're going to find that you're going to really tear things apart. What's interesting too about the carbine is it's not class locked, right? So you could play the carbine on any of the classes if you're playing on class lock servers. So this allows you to shore up one of the biggest difficulties of playing support, which is reliable weapons. Support Playing with the LMGs just doesn't work out. But if you're playing with the M4 or even better, the AK-205, and you're playing support, you're really going to thrive because you, in addition to all that, you have the capability to toss ammo down for yourself. And of course, you're going to get people up. You're going to be able to kill people at range, and you're going to be able to resupply them. You'll be getting tons of points, helping the team out, and actually feel like you're doing a lot more for the team than when you're using just an LMG. Our last weapon here is going to stay exactly where it is. It is the M417. It's this guy right here. Now, I was excited to unlock this because I thought the M4A1 wasn't good. And I was wrong. The M417 isn't bad. It does the most damage of all of the carbines. The problem is that its magazine is only 20 rounds. So if you go to kill someone, because you're going to kill them in 3 or 4 hits, assuming you hit with all 3 or 4 hits, right? You're almost at 25% out of 1 mag. And at that point too, you do get a bigger magazine on this thing, but you need to wait all the way almost near to the end of its mastery rank. So you have to slog through it. You will have a lot of fun and kill a lot of people with it, but the other two just shine so much better. I think the biggest problem I find with the M417 versus the M4A1 is that they both exist within the same kind of use case, a mid to short range / CQB style of assault, well, carbine, not assault rifle, right? Carbine. And honestly, the M4 shines because you get access to it earlier. It has a larger magazine, and it overall has a better recoil pattern. So it's easier to control that recoil. They're both full auto. They're both going to perform just about like I said, the same kind of overall use case, but it's just, I find that M4A1 just really shines out against the 17. For assault rifles, we have a pretty interesting weapon category. A lot of people don't like the assault rifles. They think the carbines are overall better. But honestly, I found that the assault rifles to be pretty satisfying. I think the biggest thing we do fall into is that damage drop off after 21 meters, which is at 22%, which does not feel too fun. The first one that you get, though, is the M433. That's this guy right here. And it's a really solid weapon. It performs well enough. It is a little wild in its recoil pattern, and it doesn't really feel as good once you start to unlock the next one. Ultimately, I think that it has a great fire rate, and that's kind of one of the big standout things of the M433 is that fire rate, I believe, is the best of all of the what are these things called? Assault rifles. So if you want a really particularly fast hitting fast hitting, yeah, fire rate, that's what I want. A fast hitting weapon, then that's for you. It does perform a little bit more in that carbine range, almost like you're kind of using an SMG, but I find that it just doesn't really have a strong enough recoil pattern. Like if I wanted to use the M433, I'd rather just use the M4A1 if I'm being totally honest. They have almost the exact same profile as far as their amount of rounds in the magazine and the general rate of fire. But the M433 does 5 more damage, just 25 damage. So the next one, though, in this list, and so this is going to say right here into average, is the NVO 288 or 228E. And this one is probably my favorite assault rifle. And I'm kind of torn here between that and the B36, and we'll talk about it in a sec. But this guy has the highest damage at 33, but we're losing a considerable amount of rate of fire here. So we're going to go from 800 in that M433 down now to 650. But I think it is just so strong. What you really want to do here, though, is drop the fire rate down from full auto to single shot and spam left click. I did not think that would really help out. I thought like, okay, this is going to kind of be a little bit gimmicky. It was not. It's extremely destructive. It really allowed me to get very precise hits, good high damage hits at 33 damage a hit. You're able to take someone out in 4, 5 concerted shots, right? Like, because if you hit someone in the arm, it's less than in center mass. So I'm saying 4 or 5, just give or take. And I used the hell out of this. It really allowed me to get those kills I needed for the challenge to get them within a close proximity. But when I was not within that 10 meters and I wasn't trying to really threaten to that 10 meters, this allowed me to give a lot of really good long range punching power. It's good muzzle velocity, so at least I'm able to take care of that. And it's really strong. Now, the last contender, this is the one you unlock at level 20 career-wise, is essentially the G36, right? The B36A4. It's this guy right here. And I like this weapon a lot. It does take a couple unlocks though to really kind of come around. It really needs that foregrip. It needs those unlocks to make it to control its recoil pattern, because initially it's got a pretty wild recoil pattern. But if you kind of give this thing 2-3 round burst shots, it has a bit slower of a fire rate compared to the M433, but it has a little bit faster of a fire rate compared over there to the NVO. So it still can get those 2-3 round bursts pretty easy by just holding down just a little bit longer on that trigger. But it feels like an upgraded M433 in all the right ways, right? Its damage is 25, so it matches the same as the M4, but it just feels a little bit better with its recoil pattern. It has a lot better overall feel to it. It feels very punchy in a way that the M433 just kind of has its rate of fire at 800, which, I mean, the SGX is a super fast gun, right? The SGX feels like a laser. The M433 really doesn't until you get a lot of unlocks for it, and it's essentially a SCAR. And that B36 feels just a lot more in control when you're trying to pump any more than like 2 or 3 rounds down range. I really enjoy it. It's probably the one weapon I have the least experience with on this entire list, but it was one that impressed me faster than a lot of the other ones. Next up is just one that stands on its own. It's the sniper rifle. And I think, I haven't really liked sniping in video games for a long time. It just always kind of feels weird. And especially if you play like Call of Duty, you have to deal with no scoping, all that crap. But I actually really like the sniper rifle in Battlefield 6. It feels very good. It feels very snappy. The bullet drop in Battlefield 6 is also a little bit different now, right? Like, they've said that there are a lot larger maps that are coming, and we're only really like scratching the surface of maps. And a lot of the maps we played are more of the short to medium range maps, and there's much bigger ones coming. Now, with there only being one sniper rifle to even test, I'm actually still even going to put it in the great category because it still feels really good. I don't feel like it's a clunky sniper rifle. I don't feel like the ADS is really slow on it. I feel, even when I get charged with people in short range on it, I still feel I can get like a snapshot off of that thing, maybe even get a second one out. And I've had a lot of really good success with the sniper rifle in ways I did not think I was going to have success with a sniper rifle in a Battlefield game. So I'm excited to see what the other sniper rifles are like. And it does help that like the Scout kit itself really lends itself to, hey, after leveling up Scout, you just play it, you get the 3 levels on it. You get the fatal sniper headshots, or you get the fact that you can shut down someone's regen for longer. And all that's tied to the sniper rifle. So it is a really fun weapon to use with those things in consideration. But also, as I said, though, it does have a great feel for a sniper rifle. Next up is our light machine guns. Now, this is, if you've been watching the channel the last 2 weeks since we've gone into open beta, you can see how vocal I've been about the light machine guns. I have a whole video dedicated to talking about the weapon drop off in damage beyond 21 meters. Every single weapon has drop off at 21 meters. And as I said earlier in the video, SMGs suffer a 15% versus the 22% of light machine guns and assault rifles. So as a result, all of our LMGs don't feel good. Now, they don't feel good, not simply because of that damage drop off, but they have a lot of struggle. They have a big struggle trying to aim down sight. You can't really do anything with the LMGs that isn't really particularly holding a location and trying to support the squad, which is 100% their use case, right? Like, they're supposed to be squad support weapons. You're supposed to be able to suppress people and supply enough shots down range to do something. But they really don't do that. And it's more of a subject of how the game responds to stuff like enemy suppression and being able to just shoot back at someone who's spraying bullets down range. You can stand in front of a light machine gun's bullets at range. Those things are going to tap you for like 13 damage, and someone's going to just down you with any one of the carbines or assault rifles in a burst or single fire mode. And that's one of the most unfortunate things. The threat that they present is not substantial enough. Thus, they are both undertuned for the exact same reasons. Even though the L110 is supposed to be more of your shorter range, kind of get up close and personal, SAW style of LMG. doesn't really get a chance to do that. And the KTS 100 is supposed to be your long range, slower fire LMG. Yes, you can definitely get kills with these weapons, and you can definitely use those weapons in those use cases and have success here and there. But I think that the time that you succeed with them in those use cases is less than it should be. And I think that's the problem, right? And I understand where the balance comes in here, because in previous battlefields, people would grab, let's just say, a good example would be something like the KTS 100, which is this guy right here, and put an ACOG scope on it, do as much stuff to increase its range or muzzle velocity as possible, and snipe out snipers with single fire bursts. You can still kind of do it with this thing, but it's not as reliable anymore because the damage profile on it is just miserable. Trying to get footage for the YouTube shorts that I've been doing that review each individual weapon was a pain in the ass because it wasn't reliable enough to really always kind of have clean trades. It was, okay, I'm going to jump down here and I'm going to try to hold this position. Oh, cool, someone ran into my crosshairs. I'm going to unload on them. Oh, they were able to turn, look at me, crouch, and kill me in the 4 or 5 shots I was putting into them. That's hyperbole, but still my point remains here that they just don't excel at what they're trying to do. And I think it has to do A, with the damage drop off, and B, the clunkiness of the weapon. You can't influence the ADS enough for them to feel good in any environment that isn't specifically like just holding a point and putting it on a mount, which again, it's light machine gun. I get it. That kind of should be used that way, but not in the pace of this game. It's a pretty fast battlefield, and dropping to a knee, going into a prone, you cannot bring the weapon back up to bear and any semblance of speed compared to any other weapon on this list. So it just falls behind because of all of those individual marks. Next up, it's the shotgun. We know where this is going. We've seen articles, we've seen Reddit posts, we've seen everything on it. It goes right to overtuned. It's so goddamn good. It's so fun to use too, though. I mean, like, if you're using a slug, you can do some disgusting things. The slug does get less damage, but it doesn't matter. It's still doing 100 damage. So you can just go to town and just do heinous stuff. Do I think the shotgun needs to be nerfed? No. I think anything like the SMG or the shotgun, I don't think they need to be nerfed so much as I've said it so many times in this video, there needs to be damage fall off that happens at either different ranges compared to the weapon or the weapon category, or damage fall off needs to be a percentage versus a static number. At 21 meters, everyone suffers X percentage of damage. Okay, well, it should be variable. Okay, 20 meters, 21 meters, have it be a gradual slope and be different for every weapon. I think the shotgun should be absolutely destructively lethal at 5 and 10 and maybe some 15. And at 20 meters, I don't want it to be really a 2-shot weapon. Well, it's a slug, it's a 1-shot weapon for sure. And if you really get an upper, if you get a good cluster on the, not the flechette, the original one, the buckshot, it'll kill it'll kill in one hit at 20 meters. So it's just so damn good. It's so damn good. And I think another thing though, we're experiencing it as being so damn good as a symptom more of the maps. Once we get larger maps that are more spread out, like I actually never use my shotgun when we're playing on Victory Mountain or whatever it is, the one that's on a big mountainside, because it's too open, right? I'm trying to deal too much with counter sniping. I'm trying to deal too much with dealing with people at range shooting at me. I almost never use the shotgun. But any of the heavy urban warfare maps, the shotgun's going to thrive, especially that one with the C point that's a house, right? Or the new map that was added in the second open beta weekend, the shotgun has a lot of really great places that it can be used. So as we jump into more experience with the shotgun on larger maps, I think we're going to find that it's going to naturally balance itself. I don't think it needs any actual nerfing to its profile whatsoever. Last but not least here is our DMRs. Now, DMRs are typically my favorite weapon style or weapon category in almost any video game. I really enjoy lethal single shot weapons. I think they're really fun to use. You can kind of get that mid to long range threat and be pretty fun and tactical. And the M39 specifically is one of my favorite weapons next to the M4, just period. In this game, it is frustrating to play with. It is angering to play with, and it is bad. It's not undertuned, it's just bad. And once you get its mastery rank up, you can actually get a lot more out of it because you can control the recoil a lot better. And I think that's its biggest problem. It does 33 damage, but its recoil is wild. You take a shot and that recoil bucks all over the place. You have a much faster fire rate than the SVK, the next one we're going to talk about, but getting that recoil to come back to center so that you can get subsequent shots on target is really a struggle. And for some reason, it feels like the reticle doesn't necessarily match where I'm aiming when the recoil is coming back. The only way I've gotten really reliable success out of using the M39 is by throwing a reflex sight on it, which drastically reduces its range, right? But I have felt like it actually gives me a much better threat range. I feel like it's much more reliable in its damage profile because it can actually get a better indication of where the reticle is coming back to post recoil. So if you're struggling with the M39 and you really want to make it work, try using a reflex sight. Yeah, you're not going to be sniping people with it, but playing a recon in a short to medium range with a carbine or a DMR is actually a lot of fun, especially because you can be dropping down respawn beacons and helping the team out. If you've not tried recon like that, I strongly recommend it, and I think you'll really enjoy it, especially if you're trying to hit that 300 spot challenge. Because remember, for recon, you just have to look down your sights and that will auto spot things. So if you're doing it with a reflex sight DMR, you're going to have a lot more fun. But I just think that this thing needs, I think it needs either a damage buff or some sort of recoil control that is better. And I don't know too what it's going to be like when the game comes out and we have access to different or more attachments. That might change how this is played. I mean, if you've played Call of Duty, you know that the M39, its equivalent in Call of Duty, is really not good. It takes a lot of levels to unlock all the attachments to get it to a serviceable level so that you can actually do stuff with it in, like, say, Warzone or what have you. So you know that this weapon has had a really sordid past with a lot of Modern Warfare games, even though it used to be quite good in a lot of more Modern Warfare games. Which brings me to the SVK. And it's great. It is great by comparison to that M39. It feels really good. If you just kind of are patient with it, it has a 2-shot kill because it does 50 points of damage. Its rate of fire is much lower and it has a smaller magazine, but it's very reliable. If you just shoot once, that reticle is going to come right back, and you just need to wait for that thing to come right back and you're going to pop someone dead. It has been such a fun experience on the DMR category compared to the M39. It's really, really enjoyable, and it feels very heavy, right? It's got really big booming sounding shots, so it just feels so satisfying to 2-shot someone. And especially too, that's one of the things that sucks about using the M39. If someone's running perpendicular to you, right, if they're running across you, you really can't reliably lead the target because the recoil is just ass out insane. The SVK, you definitely can, and it's really satisfying to get perpendicular headshots or perpendicular shots as people are trying to traverse that little, like, land bridge in between the apartments in the newest map that we're able to try out on, like, Rush or something like that. It's been so fun to, like, post up in the gazebo and just snipe people as they're trying to make that run. The SVK just feels so good, and it's what I wanted out of a DMR. But I noticed too that it does have its limitations. It's going to come down to a specific use case of the player. I don't think that it excels on its own. I think that it really needs you to play the DMR how it's supposed to be played, which you can make the argument that it's like that for anything in this whole entire list, but I think it just doesn't. It needs you to have a little bit more game or situational awareness to let it thrive. But at that, it brings our video here to a close. So we've gone through everything on this list. These are all the weapons that we currently have access to. And like I've said before, this video is not to, like, we should nerf these things. Not at all. I think that a lot of these things exist within the vacuum of the beta. And I think that once the beta is over and we get the full game in our hands, we're going to see A, more guns, B, more attachments, and C, bigger maps, which are going to really shuffle how this works. It's why this tier list is not it's not S, A, B, C, and D. It's this works pretty well. These are too good, and these just aren't performing at all. You know, like, these just are not actually even in a serviceable state right now. And that's kind of the goal of this video, is to talk more about, I hate the word viable, right? Because I said that the M39's not good, but the word viable means you can use it. I mean, absolutely, I can use the M39. I've gotten plenty of kills. I've played the entire map. Use the M39, I've gotten in the top 10. because I also play the goddamn objective, right? So the weapons are kind of only secondary to what your character's supposed to be doing within the game, even ancillary if you kind of look at it, right? So take all this too with a grain of salt. I'm one player and I play support a lot. I play engineer a lot. I don't really play recon very much. I don't play assault all the time. So maybe you are an assault player, like, dude, you are sleeping on the M433. That's totally fine. Let me know in the comment section below and tell me why. Like, hey, you know what? You're not using the M417 properly. This is how you should be using it. The MP7 actually thrives in this type of way. And I think you're actually burning that bridge too early because it actually outperforms the SGX. Whatever it is, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.